Good morning, Frederick County and the world. This is Dana B. and Charlie Markert. We are the 3% of Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries, and we want to make sure that we get together a few times a week to bring out not only the current events that are happening, but um, the what's happening literally with our school board, what's happening with our candidates, what's happening with our board of supervisors, and so forth. And this morning, we have the privilege of talking with Marina Caruso, who is she filled in as an interim on the school board, and she's running for school board this year. And I'm going to pass this over to Charlie because I'm kind of like the color guy, and Charlie's our questionnaire. So we're going to have some fun this morning. Welcome, Marina. How you doing?
Great. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. All yours, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. Um, and I echo his thank you for being here.
Yeah.
It's important that we take these opportunities and share with people, the people we know and find out what they think and share what we think. Um, but first of all, before we get into the issue at hand, we'd like to a little background about yourself. Before you got onto the school board, um, like your name. I love boating, so I love your name, Marina. Where did that name come from, and where did you come from?
Yeah, so I always tell people like the boat dock where you park boats, but named after my mother's best friend. My mother's from Germany, and her best friend's name was Marina, so she named me after her. But to answer your question, I'll first off say that I'm from North Carolina, and that's a huge part of my identity. I love the culture, embrace, hospitality and being a good neighbor. And so I'm not trying to change Frederick County into North Carolina, but I'm raising three little Virginians. So I want to make this the best place possible for them to live, and we love it here. I met my husband in college at Shepherd University, and he grew up here in Frederick County, went to James Wood High School, and now we live not too far from James Wood. So I do have an invested interest in the public school system because our two children are in public schools and one will be coming through public school. So yeah, mom of three, busy with sports and activities and events all the time, and also have a pretty high demanding career. I work in public service and I work in data science and technology, identifying waste, fraud, and abuse in public programs, and really, really fascinating subject matter. I'm really into data science and analytics and how that applies to what's going on with identity theft and the world right now. So I hope that
Wow.
answers your question.
Oh, yeah,
What a great
absolutely does.
background for this.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And you got your hands full at home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a blessing.
How old are your children, Marina?
I have well, one of them turns 2 in 2 weeks. One of them just turned 6 and is entering the first grade. And then I have a 15-year-old starting 10th grade at James Wood.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
being involved in the school board and the school system is one of many ways for you to keep track of your kids. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm really now involved in their education and and the community, and it's been really cool.
So,
And
what
that
got
spread, I'm sorry, Charlie, I was thinking that spread of ages also gives you a really good insight on what's happening from really young preschool into middle school or elementary school into middle school and then into high school. So you get a chance to see the different array on how things are working behind the scenes at the same time, as not only as a mom, but if you're on the school board, being able to uh, feed into that as well. That's pretty good,
well,
especially with analytics.
what motivated you to get started on the school board to begin with?
So unfortunately, Mr. Funes had to step down in his role, and they solicited the appointment for an interim position.
Right.
And I found it really interesting and a great opportunity to intermingle with the community and be able to add my own perspective and, to the school board and policy and data-driven decisions. But I think it's been really rewarding so far. I was chosen to be the appointee out of, 11 or 12 really talented individuals. And I didn't expect that, but I wanted to ensure that our county had choices. I think that's really important to have choices when it comes to appointed positions or elected positions. And I just didn't want it to run uncontested or, you know, have someone that had the wrong motivations and wasn't for making the public schools a better place. So that's what really drove me to seek that interim position.
And what keeps you wanting to be there?
Oh boy. So yeah, I didn't know if I was going to run originally. I think that I took the opportunity to visit the schools. And as I started talking with members of the community, I started seeing so many different perspectives. And, I got to speak with educators, administrators, parents, taxpayers, and children. And that has been the most awesome thing. So it really is so much more than I ever would have thought it could be. I think I told my husband, like,
Yeah.
oh, it's, a meeting once a month and, engaging with the community, but it's so much more than that. And I'm learning so much from, the current board and from, the community members. So I think just having that engagement with my community is so rewarding.
And you
Well,
already
say
have a
this,
propensity for gathering data, and that's what you're doing is you're
yeah,
gathering
Yeah.
data.
Yeah,
and you
so
got
I'll,
some
I'll
big
say
shoes
that
to
like I
fill.
really believe this should be a nonpartisan position when it comes to data-driven decisions.
Hmm.
And I want to keep all of the divisiveness that's going on outside of the schools so that our children can focus on, a high quality education.
Right.
Thank you for stepping up, Marina, because we've known Frank for a long time. We helped also, we worked with his other campaign manager, and Frank was a staple at Mountain Patriots on Monday nights. I mean, we loved Frank. He'd come in on his motorcycle with his big mustache. How you doing? How you doing? Frank was just what a great soul. What a great person, and he cared so much about the children, and it's obvious you do, as well. And I like the fact that you're also data driven. A lot of people don't look at any of the data. We're watching it all over the country. People don't know what the data is, you know. We were looking at SOLs, and Charlie will tell you we're plugged into quite a few people in the education realm, from Ann
Sure.
Craftatus to Dr. Sheila Fury to Devin O'Neill, who is Trail of Tears, and his information on what we need to do to get more. I'm just going to say it, biblically centered back in our schools, and the moral foundation of what we actually need in the schools, and stop a lot of the divisiveness that's actually happening. Wouldn't you agree, Charlie?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I got another question is since you're already on the school board, um, what are your thoughts about what the school board has been able to do so far, what they've accomplished, what they are in the middle of doing now?
So I can't, obviously the big win for the school board, I think, is expanding our facilities to incorporate a fourth high school.
Yeah,
It's 5, 10 years too late and a lot more expensive now. And I know that that's a hard fight. People don't want to be spending the money, but I think if we can plan ahead, and I think that that's what this board is doing, is they're making good decisions earlier so that we are not, paying double or triple down the road 5 or 10 years later. And so I think getting caught up with that is important and, still remaining fiscally conservative. I like to see that they are making choices that,
Mhm.
when it comes to like acquisitions or procurements, whether it be vendors, they're really keeping in mind the taxpayer. I also think that advocating for school safety, whether that be the
Actors.
weapons machinery
Yep.
or enhanced security, And looking at, discipline measures. I mean, that goes along with safety too. I really appreciate that they're advocating for school safety. I also think, from what I've seen and what I've heard, that the relationship with the Board of Supervisors is, increasingly getting better. And I just hope to advance that as well. Like, I can't wait to work with everyone. And I know previously it's been super divisive. So I think they've put a good, legwork in to continue that. So I look forward to being part of that as well.
Is there anything else that you feel needs to be done in that area of
Yes,
uh,
obviously, I think we still need to be adding for the future plan with being a good steward of the taxpayer dollar at the same time. I just think that we need that balance where it comes to planning ahead, planning appropriately, working with the Board of Supervisors to ensure that, we're keeping up with the same pace of development, or, advocating for what we believe needs to get done. Um, I think that safety is going to be a huge concern moving forward. It's going to be one of those constant risks and vulnerabilities that, all schools have. So just keeping that in mind, and, um, assessing those challenges as we get there. And honestly, it's just staff support. Frederick County Public Schools is the second largest employer in the county, and, I'd hate to see, teachers leave. But I want to make sure that they're supported and want to stay here, and I want to also ensure that we're getting the most talented, individuals in our school, talented, capable, and, safe teachers in our classrooms.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and speaking about growth, we are the fastest growing county in the state,
We
and have
are.
been for years. And so what you say rings true about we need to be able to deal with the growth, and the kids are on the forefront of that. Uh,
I know the fourth high school's been an item of contention. And I know that there has been a battle between the Board of Supervisors and the public and the school board and so forth. Um, we're starting to, and whether people advocated for it or not, it's just got to be done, number one, fiscally responsibly. Okay, and it has to be done right, and it has to be staffed correctly with people that, as Charlie would probably agree with you, I know he agrees with me, where they're learning reading, writing, arithmetic, cursive, not gender equality and equity, and so forth. We want people, we want the kids are our future. They're the doctors, they're the lawyers, they're the practitioners, they're the dentists, they're the workers. We don't want people sucking their thumbs, and not knowing what's going on. And I do like the policy. Um, and I understand one of the policies was a couple things that, because we talk to everybody. I mean, we
Mhm.
just do. We try to stay plugged in, but taking the phones out of the schools. People are going, oh my gosh, it might be a safety issue. What happens if my kid? Well, if they're paying attention, the safety issues go to, you're not safe doing this anywhere. Okay. So I think that they're more plugged in. I thought that taking the phones out of schools was a great idea. Um, the other thing was, and I know it took time. A lot of the people, and I know you'll be in with this. If you win this, you'll be in for a battle like this as well, Marina, where uh, people expect, they elect you, and then they expect you to fix it. You ran on this, and we need you to fix this now. And I like the fact that, and I know a lot of the parents are upset at this, but trying to get a lot of the garbage book wise out of schools. Just get the garbage out of the schools. Well, that takes some of the stuff away that we, Animal Farm, Brave New World. I mean, things like that. There's a line there. But a lot of these really sexually explicit stuff, what we found out is, and I don't, and I've been away for a few days, they're working on the fact that the parents would have to opt in to be able to have their kids do that and separate all of that stuff out rather than, a parent that has biblical values and biblical principles and morals and so forth would have to opt their kid out because let's face it, a lot of parents didn't pay attention. But let me ask you this, since I brought that up, are you finding, obviously, since you're running, that parents now are paying a lot more attention to what their kids are eating, learning, doing, being a part of? Are you seeing that?
Well, I want to first go back to you were talking about the cell phones. I'm so excited for that. I can't wait to see, like, obviously, I've been able to experience the qualitative response from that in
You
my
never
own
had a cell
home.
phone?
Yeah, yeah, but like I can't wait to see like what impact that has
Me
quantitatively on
too.
like scores
There's your
and grades and
statistics.
yeah, and performance, just observed performance coming out of that. Um, yeah, so the people that I've talked to have usually have very specific things that they, have observed in the schools, and a lot of them, I think, mention behavioral issues or having distractions in school. So yes, I think that I honestly think that the noise about like eating consumption and the reading consumption, I think those are just some really strong voices. I think that what I hear the most is communication and discipline. And that's honestly, I've talked to hundreds of people, and that seems to be the major theme. So that's what comes to my mind. I hear all the time that like the food, isn't the greatest, but I feel like that's like federally. Like I don't know of a single school system where I've heard people are like, we have excellent quality food. So that is
Up with
something
that.
that like I hear about and read about, and I wanted to be able to do something with that about that. But I think that also needs to start happening at the federal and state level where we are addressing those kinds of things. So yeah, I do think people are paying attention.
I,
Um,
I, I really like you bringing up discipline because discipline
Yes.
seems to have made a terrible dent in the learning capability. Not well, not so much. They're all capable, um, but it has put an anchor on the learning
It's
just
a weight.
because of disrespect and and the lack of discipline. Not I don't hear that in our schools, but that needs to be front and center in every school, and
Absolutely.
I'm glad to hear you bring that up. Um, and that leads into increased security that we do hear about going on. What do you see and understand about the increase in trying to make our children safer than they have been?
so just the other evening, they had a buildings and facilities committee meeting, and they're talking about piloting a new artificial intelligence based security system that integrates with our cameras that we already have, but picks up like anomalous behavior. So I'm interested in learning more about that. I don't know too much about it, but that's what I mean by they're looking into an enhanced security options. And I think Miss Klein also is looking into what it would cost and what it entails to get those like vapor sensors in bathrooms where we know a lot of kids escape to vape or get into trouble
You
Sure.
never did any of
without
that.
invading but without invading privacy at the same time. That's like huge. So it's
Right.
going to definitely be a balance as artificial intelligence enters the room in that regards as well. But I think security as a deterrence is a really strong thing. My daughter came home telling me she heard that there were already vapor sensors in the bathrooms, and I know we don't have that, but that alone, like if there's a rumor that we have it, I think it's obviously effective because my daughter heard it. Um, so yeah, I think enhanced security measures do act as a deterrent when it comes to, you get children being children, getting pushing the line and getting into trouble. And obviously, over the past several years, safety is a big concern. So I'm
Yeah,
all for enhanced security there.
I'm thinking
yeah,
respect, Charlie.
an important part of discipline is actually after they're caught with one thing or another is having follow through, having consequences. and not just turning your head, turning a blind eye, not just in what the children are doing, what the teachers are doing. Um,
Sounds like
like
no cash bail, Charlie. You
in,
slap on the wrist and go back to class,
in Loudoun County,
Hmm.
you just don't send someone somewhere else because they're a problem.
Oh,
So,
look how that worked out.
is there any thoughts on the improvement? Do policy needs to be changed? Are there policies that need to be changed?
I
Um,
mean, I think we're making progress in those arenas, like, as we go. Recently, we made an adjustment to the school bus policy where they're able to enforce harsher penalties for doing more serious actions, where previously it was like you just got suspended from the bus for a few days. Now it's equal to doing those same actions within the school, so you get like heavier punishment. So I think the current board also agrees that harsher action up front serves as a deterrent, and we see that in every level of law enforcement, I guess. So
Good, good.
It's
Yeah.
funny, Charlie. It takes me back when I first started in school. My parents put me into a Catholic school, and the nuns were able to slap your hands with a ruler. I mean, I mean, we've come a lot. Now, I'm not advocating that kind of stuff, but there was a certain level of respect. All right. But that respect goes two ways. Um, Respect the teacher is an elder, but I have a little bit of trouble with sometimes when the teachers and so forth jump in and they try to indoctrinate the kid from, well, listen to your teacher because your teacher knows best because the parents aren't paying attention. So now they're being taught something different, but then you're supposed to respect the there's a line there, and I think we're going to find it in the next couple years. I really do. I think we're kind of shifting the morality part to it, but I think a lot of it has to do with the respect that's in the schools, both for the teachers and the parents and the students.
I have a question. Are there any other educational issues that you want to champion or propose maybe or oppose uh, the that you see going on in the schools today?
yeah, so I have one of my daughters is advanced in her school path. So I guess she would be in the gifted scenario. And
Right.
one I have a daughter who has a speech impairment, and she's going through needing to have additional services through the school on an IEP plan. So
IEP program, right?
yeah,
Been
I'd
there.
like to see those strengthened, and have more technical courses for people that fall outside just a traditional career path. Like I know we have Dal J and trades, but I've talked to so many people, like we also have agriculture. We have it'd be really nice to incorporate more agriculture at the school where we can plant flowers in lieu of paying for landscaping, and that be part of like the school curriculum, is being able to choose you know from a wider breadth of trades, or classes geared towards like technical trades.
Mhm.
Oh, I
um,
like hearing that.
yeah,
Well,
and
yeah.
Miss Martin also suggested that we have more culinary courses. So
Mhm.
I'd really like to see just those alternate, as I'm a big STEM person. Like I love science and technology, and
Me
like my
too.
entire family is all into math related fields. But at the same time, we know that artificial intelligence is moving at a really fast rate, and we have to have a full catalog of courses that we can offer so that children are exposed to what potential careers look like. So I think that the school system is doing a good job. I just want to do like a better job at these types of things. And I know there are
Yep.
schools around the country that have more of those offerings available to them. But yeah, so I would like to see both gifted students have more opportunities, like at the middle school level. My daughter had to take summer school to be on the career path, on the school path that she's on now. It
Mhm.
wasn't offered to her in middle school. Whereas a lot of school districts have gifted or accelerated paths like embedded within the school if you're identified as, excelling in all of your courses. And similarly, when it comes to the IEP or like, students that have needs, all I'm hearing is the schools need more resources or they need shifted resources to be able to give both those children and the remaining children like adequate attention. So really just getting into those nitty-gritty details is what I'm most excited about.
Wonderful. That's a treat to hear your excitement. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Anything else? Any other issues that come to mind?
I think that I mentioned it. I truly believe, everybody has their values and their political stance, but in the school board specifically, I really want to protect the children from that political whiplash that's happening outside of the schools.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you'll see from me is taking a more
Centered.
yeah, a more centered approach because we represent like a diverse, population here. I mean, we're a more conservative community, but that doesn't mean that's everyone. So I want to be able to talk to everyone, listen to everyone, and then make educated decisions that represent the community as a whole. So um, that's where I'm open to learning new information and changing my opinion by talking to different people and doing research. So
And
I don't
and
want
where
to I don't want to say that like I will never change my mind about something.
right, right. And where that whole issue kind of comes to a lightning rod is civics class. And
Civics.
and I think, my opinion, it's super critical to teach our history, our true history, all the warts and everything, and not whitewash anything, and but include it in the framework of our country, our
Our
Constitution, our Bill of
Constitution.
Rights.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, and I understand. Well, I don't know the depth to which the civics is taught in Frederick County schools, but I understand that it is. So anything you can do to improve that um, will help. Is a great contribution to our children. Um,
Charlie, you just hit something really important. Um, I think, and this is just IMHO, in my humble opinion. Um, when I started in school, I mean, we started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we loved our country. We looked forward to being there. We learned about the Constitution. We learned about the different presidents. We learned about the Bill of Rights and so forth. And, you know, just being out on the street now, talking to people, you can talk to an 18-year-old or a 14-year-old or a 40-year-old and say, who was the third president of the United States? Um,
or who was the first? They're
right.
equally
I always ask, I
don't
go a
know.
little, try to go a little deeper because a lot of people, at least half, will get that one. We'll get that one right. But who are the founding fathers? What does that document mean? What are the freedoms that were given to us? Okay. Do we really have freedom of speech? Can we be who we want to be within the moral confines of the Judeo-Christian principles that were brought in? So, Charlie, that kind of leads us into what we wanted to do and see what Marina's thoughts are on it. What do you think?
Oh yeah, yeah. We Dana Mountain Patriots podcast are going to be doing a historical podcast series,
We need to.
interviewing like reenactors, interviewing George Washington, um, James Madison, uh,
Thomas
you name it.
Paine, Abraham Lincoln, you know.
Yeah, and
Let me throw something
and
in, Charlie, real quick.
having people sit down and be that person in the podcast, all towards building up a series that's contributory to the 250th anniversary of our Constitution, of our country, and not the Constitution, the country, Declaration of Independence.
How did we
Um,
get here?
yeah, and so we were wondering about your thoughts on contributing or helping or ideas towards something like that. The way this idea came about was that we
Did our
have a
conference.
Wake Up Winchester Conference #8,
Number
and
8.
we did a a talk on how we got to the revolution of this country. Um, Liberty Man, who lives down in Front Royal, also gave a talk, and but afterwards he came to us and said, that would be really helpful for if we had some short videos that we could share with people who are homeschooling, people who are alternate schools, people in our public schools, because he goes around and teaches to all of them.
15,
And
20 minutes, not a documentary, something that the
right.
parents can watch and the children can watch and go, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
And to make it personal, so it's not
Right.
just the names, dates, and places of history textbooks.
Mhm.
We want whoever does that to dig in and find out, who their mama was or where they came from and what their experiences were beyond the historical reason they're there in history. And so we're looking for ideas and even participation from a variety of people. So,
And we've gotten a chance to talk to quite a few people. Scott Sturdivant being one of them. The Liberty Man loves the idea. Everybody we've talked to has loved the idea. Dr. Hummer was like, wow, that's pretty neat. I like that idea. Christian Marshallowski was the same thing. Could I be Ulysses S. Grant? But people are kind of, Miles Atkins said the same thing. Man, I would dress up in period costume and I would do the research. So the response we're getting is not only would that be fun, but I would learn something if I played that part.
yeah,
Okay. And it's not just men. I mean, there are so many different women. I mean, my wife is one of the daughters of the revolution.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's so many different people. What was this country founded on? What moral principles? How did they learn? Everything from the one-room schoolhouse to how did we save the country during during not just the revolution, but the Civil War? And we would want input. What are your thoughts on what we're thinking about right now? And would you be willing to help us?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds super fun.
And we want kids to involve too.
Yeah, so you know what I think you can reach these kids by um, utilizing some of their, I think they call it brain rot terms that they use when they're talking to each other. Not holistically, but if you can, and to help engage them, like put in snippets of like their pop culture so that they're like, oh, okay. I can't give an example. Maybe, you know, I'm just speaking just because my daughter is like all into this TikTok stuff, but like the terms that she
I get
uses
it.
are like another language. But
so you
obviously,
could
I
be our
like that.
interpreter.
because when somebody has a crush on someone and they're flirting, they call it Riz. So just sticking it like those crazy little terms in there, I think could grab their attention and be like, oh, okay. Like I know what you're talking about. Like I'm picking up what you're putting down here, but make it like relevant to them at the same time as sneaking in all of that really important history and
Yeah.
grabbing their attention. I think it's a really great idea.
I
I'm
love
not
it.
sure who I would be or if I'm even a good actress, but I can definitely like help give you some ideas.
And get the
And
kids
not just
involved.
ideas like you just did, but
I love it. Yo,
other
George,
people.
you want to put your
That,
John Hancock down on this slice of paper here? What you
Yeah,
think,
like that.
George? You down with
Yes.
it?
Sneaking in
yeah.
those little things, I swear, is helpful to getting their attention because even if they're not one of the ones that are like scrolling and picking up all this stuff, their friends at school talk like that. So
Right. Great. See, that's why we wanted to do this too. And education to us, the most important thing when we started this, Mount Patriots Educational Ministries, the third letter is E, education. We want people to understand who are we? Where did we come from? Who was it the other night, Charlie, when we put out you guys put out the questions of what we wanted to focus on at Mountain Patriots. What is the purpose of life?
Yeah, that was one of the questions.
That
What,
was Chris. It
let's
was
talk about
Christian,
the
wasn't
purpose
it?
of life. Yeah, why am I here?
Why am I here? But he looks at everything a lot through a biblical lens, and it was pretty cool that when we did this a couple weeks ago, that everybody kind of migrated to that purpose and functionality of spirituality and God. And then let's start
Yeah.
here, and then we can work towards the kids that way. So it was pretty neat, you know.
So, yeah, so we'll count on you to be our interpreter.
I
I'll
like that
try.
idea, and we want the kids involved.
Yeah.
I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
one
well,
of
yeah.
them.
What? So one of the podcast, well, not one, several podcasts, we want to have the kid be the guest.
Correct.
The kid play the part, um,
Correct.
or maybe have a panel of two or three kids and talk about they can do their studying ahead of time and share what they come up with. So we're totally flexible too, is for our podcasts, and but we're looking forward to it. Do you have any other thoughts on what's important, um, and why should people vote for you? Maybe your elevator speech or your why is it important? What sets you apart? Uh, Even though you don't have competition in the moment, you probably will for the next term. Um, you're doing a favor for everybody by
Yeah. We
communicating. As
thank
you
you
said,
for doing
communications
this.
is one of those things. So,
Just for
what would you communicate?
Yeah, so I think it's really important that people get involved in their community instead of just, harping about it or having opinions and not doing something about it.
armchair
Um,
quarterback.
yeah, I feel like that's a common theme of people that I've seen that are running for office. They're either like, if not me, then who, or be the change that you want to see.
Yeah, right.
But just it can happen at smaller levels. It's join a committee or participate in a school function. I think that well, kind of what sets me apart is that I'm just like an average mom trying to like make it myself here. I'm just struggling to get from one place to another too, but I'm trying to find ways to like be with my family and make a difference for my family. So I think that I bring a skill set, and I think all of the board members and all of the candidates bring their own unique skill set. We have, veterans, we have pilots, we have data scientists, we have educators. I just want people to continue to participate and to get out and vote for the things that you want to see and get out and contribute to groups or committees, like even like the Mountain Patriots. I came and visited you guys. I think it's really cool. I think it's really fun what you guys do. I'm sure if my
We have a
husband
ball.
had more time, he would be like all into it.
Well, we want you to come back out because one of the things that Mountain Patriots really focuses on is that we don't just do this. We want people to come back. So we do have the commissioner of the revenue. She stops in every few weeks just to update us on what's going on. Here's the taxes. Here's how this works. Here's how that works. Uh, the chairman of the school board pops in. Well, he's there a lot because he's filling us in a lot. Frank Funes used to come in and talk about what's going on. Miles would come in. John Jewell from Back Creek. This is what's going on, guys. Willie Deutsch from FCRC. This is what's happening with data centers. So these guys kind of pop in and out and keep the
Dan Best.
community going. And what Charlie
Dan Best does that
Dan
also.
Best does a phenomenal job. Alan Ronda Torres of Conservatives of Lake Frederick. We love those guys. I mean, they're like we are. They're part of Convention of States as well. So we're trying to be at least a hub that can keep we want you to visit. We want people to visit and talk and fill us in on what they see, because we can only see so much. You might be looking at education, and Charlie's looking at planning commission, and Dana's looking at food bank, and and Tanya's looking at revenue. So we get good ideas from everybody that's there, and it brings the community together. So we definitely want to have you back. Plenty, you know. Charlie,
Yeah.
anything else, my friend?
Is there anything, how can we help
How can
you?
we help?
And again, that question is kind of moot in the terms of your competition, but but we want to help everybody anyway, because as I mentioned earlier, you will have competition at some point.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or
Well,
need
honestly,
help
just
when you're in? How can we help?
communication is something that I think that I'm looking for from everyone. Like I'm going to talk to anyone. So if you hear something and you think it's a concern of the board, reach out to me because I want to hear it and I want to be able to advocate for my constituency. So if something's going on that I can help address, that's how you can help me be a benefit to the community. And so I'm going to continue to work with as many people as possible, talk to many people as possible, and like something that I've heard previously is maybe their board counterpart, wasn't great with communication. I want to be that. So just keeping me updated in things that are important to the community. That's how you can help me. Obviously, I'm not running a traditional campaign at the moment, but I want people to feel like they chose me regardless, like picked me, even though I'm running unopposed. I think people deserve choices, and I want to feel like, I'm their choice. So,
Wonderful. You mentioned something earlier, join a committee. I would encourage any of our listeners to
Please.
go to one of your supervisors and say, you got any committees that you need people on? I mean, you don't have to go there with your pet rock, with your topic. You can just go there to get involved. And
And listen,
uh, the people are always looking for people to appoint to committees, and there's always vacancies on various ones. So I would encourage you to get in contact with a school board member or a board of supervisors member. They got a whole bunch of committees too. That's how to get involved.
and they need help. They need
Yeah.
help. They
Oh
need
yeah.
voices. I mean, you can't carry the rock by yourself. You can't do it, and that's what I see happen in almost every election. It happened in Trump's campaign, where everybody was like, "Okay, President Trump is now President Trump. We can go home now." Okay, because he's got it. We don't want the people to think, okay, we have Marina Caruso in there, fantastic, she's going to be good. Let us know what happens, and then they come back and go, why aren't the books out of the school yet? Well, what have you done to? Which is usually my next question to people is, well, what have you done? Have you been to a board meeting? Have you gone to the schools yourself?
yeah,
Have you
send me
talked to
an
Dr.
email.
Hummer? Have you put
Yeah.
together a group? What can you do? Well, that's why I elected them. That's my voice. No, you got to be part of what's going on. And we just did a podcast on that and being involved, didn't we, Charlie?
Yeah. Yeah.
We did one on being involved. So, is there
So
anything, Marina, that you want to you close us out with? Any ideas that we need?
No, I just want to encourage everybody to get out and vote on November 4th, regardless of who you're voting for, stand up for something and participate in that privilege.
This was
yeah,
great.
I feel the school board is in good hands
I do
with
too.
you
This this
on it
this was cool. I
as
love
well.
your answers. I love your background, the statistical stuff that goes with it, taking a look at what's going on. That tells me you're looking at money as well as statistics and scores. Okay. And if we can get kids up, if we can move them up 10 points, I mean, that's a big deal right now. That's a big deal right now. So, first off, I want to thank you for spending time with us today. I'm a little rough, but it's been nice having a couple days off, Charlie. Just a couple,
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Charlie's had everything on his shoulders all week long.
Yeah, but
Okay.
my attitude is uh, it must be Saturday because I didn't have to work today and I don't have to work tomorrow. So
It
Every
must
day
be,
Saturday.
it must be Saturday. Well, as Mountain Patriots, I want to make sure that people know you can find, if you go to Wake Up Winchester or Mountain Patriots, you can find us on the web. You can also find us when you're on the web on Wake Up Winchester. You can find all of these videos. You can find us at Mount MTN Pats on Facebook. You can find us on Rumble. You can find us on YouTube. There's so many different things and so many different topics that we cover. So we're educating not just on the educators and people that could be on the school board or teachers and so forth, but we're also talking to board of supervisors, talking to people in agriculture. One thing I did want to bring up, and you said something about food, and I forgot about this.
Yeah.
I'll be talking to the homesteaders and Devin O'Neill and a couple other people. That's a name you're going to want to remember on um, what's it called? Farm to table.
Farm to table.
From farm to table. What can we do here in this community to get better food for lunch lady land, in the schools? So that's one of the projects that we will be working on. So with that being said, we always end up with the Mountain Patriots prayer, written by Charlie. We want to give all the glory to God today for taking the time out. Marina, thank you. And I'll let Charlie close us out with a prayer.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Charlie.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful world and the country that you have given us, and the patriots who are willing to care for it. Thank you for inspiring our founders to create this beautiful republic. Please help us to keep it as the aspiring place to live. Please give us the wisdom to do the right things, the common sense to judge wisely, the energy to never give up, and your unending grace in which we take comfort. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I want to thank everybody for being here. Charlie, you're always a phenomenal host. Make sure you take a look at this, share it, like it, subscribe, and make sure you comment. And until the next time,
God bless.
God bless and have a great day. Thanks, Marina.
Thanks.
Thank you, Charlie.
You bet.